Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
We've seen a lot of rain and snow this winter in San Diego County, but forecasters say the biggest storm is yet to come. Thanks for joining us. I'm Matt Hoffman in for Maya Trabulsi. The National Weather Service is warning people to hunker down and avoid traveling. KPBS reporter John Carroll checked out the conditions for drivers traversing higher elevations of Interstate 8.
Looking down on the 8 from a little above 4,000 feet, there's still plenty of snow on the ground, but no precip at around midday, and there was no wind to speak of. That made drivers we talked to happy.
We're going east. We're going to Phoenix, actually.
San Diego native Dean Anderson is traveling in this RV along with his wife and young daughter. He says driving conditions today have been fine, but he knows there's no time to waste getting to Arizona.
So I think we're a bit ahead of it. So we try to get out soon, and we know Saturday is going to be just torrential.
He's right. A big change is in store, perhaps the biggest storm of the season so far.
We're in a transition right now.
National Weather Service meteorologist Alex Tardy says a lot of moisture is headed our way, but most of it won't fall as snow.
We've seen the majority of our snow, and now we're going to see the majority of our rain for San Diego. But the main storm is going to be tonight in the dark, and the heavy rain will be midnight to 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Just off Interstate 8, the Golden Acorn Casino and Travel Center and gas station is a popular place to stop and fill up, maybe get a snack, go to the bathroom. But today, it's doing double duty as a place to play in the snow. Yeah. Janet Sandoval traveled up here with her husband and sister and one-year-old JoJo, escaping the warmer climes of El Centro for one big reason.
Enjoy the snow with the family. It's his first time at the snow.
We will get more snow from this next storm. Alex Tardy says to expect between 6 and 15 inches of it around the 6,000-foot level. That's on top of the 18 to 24 inches that have already fallen at the higher elevations. And down in San Diego, he says we will get anywhere between 1 to 3 inches of rain, enough to cause flooding and not much time to dry out, as another storm is forecast to arrive early next week. John Carroll, KPBS News.
Mountain areas across California are expecting historic and treacherous conditions, but even coastal communities, they're getting a taste of the winter weather too. Mike Valerio has the latest from Los Angeles.
In the City of Angels, yes, that is the Hollywood sign, and yes, that is winter weather. Not enough for snow angels near the Walk of Fame, but enough for frozen precip across Southern California to, well, freak people out.
It's like a blizzard down the hill. And then when I came back up going northbound, I saw a hit and run right in front of me.
In its first ever blizzard warning, the National Weather Service in San Diego says mountains in San Bernardino County could see 3 to 5 feet of snow through Saturday morning. Blizzard warnings, seen here in orange, are also issued for parts of Los Angeles and Ventura counties through Saturday afternoon. Winter storm warnings in pink cover much of the state.
It's been a long time since we've had snow like this.
After sleet fell near palm trees and movie studios in Culver City, the National Weather Service forecasts areas close to the coast could see cold rain transitioning into some accumulating snowfall. There's already plenty of powder here in Los Gatos up in Northern California. But for Southern Californians, authorities say the worst impacts and snow cameos are in the forecast for Friday afternoon through Saturday morning.
In Los Angeles, Mike Valerio, KPBS News.
Coming up, we'll have your complete forecast, including when we could see a break in this wet weather before another storm may be on the way. An off-duty San Diego police officer was arrested on domestic violence-related charges. James Walker was booked into jail last night after officers responded to a 911 call in Mira Mesa. SDPD says Walker has been suspended pending the outcome of a criminal and internal investigations. The investigation into the alleged rape of a young woman by former SDSU football players has led to a child pornography charge. KPBS reporter Alexander Nguyen has more on what's revealed in search warrants and what it means for the ongoing civil case.
KPBS, along with several other media outlets, sued to get these documents released to find out more about the case. The court released the 10 search warrants late yesterday, and they offer differing accounts of what happened the night the young woman reported she was raped, allegedly by multiple former Aztec football players, including Matt Ariza, Naulimpa Iwaliko, and Xavier Leonard. Authorities also found evidence of child pornography among the mountain of digital evidence gathered for the rape investigation. Police yesterday arrested Iwaliko on one felony count of possession of child pornography. Attorney for Iwaliko has not responded to multiple requests for comments. After the warrants were unsealed, Dan Gillian, the attorney for the young woman, identified only as Jane Doe, said the affidavits bolster his client's case. An attorney we talked to who is not involved in the case said information contained in the warrants will more likely than not help the young woman's civil case.
The warrants reveal that the young lady was hurt, was injured, and was wronged in some fashion. And so what the affidavits show supports the civil lawyer, because the civil lawyer only needs probable cause, more likely than not, for him to win the civil case.
Back in December, the San Diego County District Attorney's Office decided not to file charges against the 3 men, claiming based on the evidence there was no path to a potential criminal conviction. The civil case is pending, and SDSU has yet to conclude its student conduct investigation into the matter. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
It's been 1 year since the lives of millions of Ukrainians were turned upside down after Russia invaded their homeland. Some Ukrainian refugees are now calling San Diego home. KPBS reporter Claire Strong met with one family who were among the first to arrive here.
Life for these young sisters is slowly getting back to normal, or as normal as things can be. It's almost a year to the day since their family was forced to flee their home in Kyiv after Russia invaded Ukraine. They first fled to Poland, and from there they traveled to San Diego and were one of the first Ukrainian families to arrive here. Mum Alona Samusanko, who works as an English teacher, has never publicly spoken about the trauma of the past 12 months until now.
I'm just sad for my husband actually right now, because for him, I think it was harder because I moved places several times, and my house, he's lived in his village since he was born, and it is it's a common thing in Ukraine to stay where you were born. And I can see how hard it is from him to leave the place where he was born. Ukrainian tractors, they pulled it somewhere to junkyard.
Alona's dad escaped with them too. After spending more than 60 years in Ukraine, he's found the language barrier difficult. Using Alona as an interpreter, he says local people have been welcoming and that he's grateful for the support of the American government. But talking about his old life is still painful.
There was a big garden, the big orchard. There was a house. And I lived for 63 years in Ukraine, and then I have to leave everything. It was hard.
18-year-old Maria is Alona's eldest daughter. She didn't know any English when she moved here 12 months ago, but now she's embracing San Diego life.
I like people, I like weather, I like school, and yeah.
Leaving behind her boyfriend and extended family was traumatic for her, but Maria isn't sure she wants to go back.
After it's will be very hard for me.
What do you think would be really hard about returning there?
It's another Ukraine.
It's not the same.
No.
Despite everything, things are looking up for the family. Alorna starts a new job on Monday. Maria plans on attending community college in the fall, and the younger sisters are settling well. Alorna hopes Ukraine will be a free country soon.
I really hope that the war will end soon, and none of Ukrainian people will suffer anymore.
Claire Strong, KPBS News.
A key consumer spending report out today shows that inflation may be picking up speed again. That's raising concerns that efforts to fight inflation could stall economic growth. Chris Wynn is tracking the trends and explains what it could mean for your wallet.
For Americans struggling with the rising cost of living, a hotter than expected inflation gauge will only make it worse.
I'm not making ends meet. I'm not making it. I'm spending my savings. I get paid tomorrow, and already my whole paycheck is spoken for.
The Core Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index showed prices rising 0.6% on a monthly basis and 4.7% for the 12 months ending in January. It's the first time the index has ticked up in 3 months. Stocks plunged Friday morning as the report adds pressure on the Federal Reserve to continue with its rate hiking campaign.
The Fed, look, I have all respect for Jay Powell, but the fact is we lost a little bit of control of inflation. Models didn't pick that up.
But inflation is focused on services like hotels and meals out. Meanwhile, goods prices continued falling, dropping 0.7% from the previous month, and consumer sentiment is on the rise. Also released Friday, the closely watched University of Michigan's survey of consumers shows people are feeling better about the economy. Still, many fear inflation will be higher in the near term.
I think that's the hardest thing, is what were considered luxuries that weren't even really that luxurious. We just can't afford it anymore.
Chris Wynn, KPBS News.
Gas prices are falling nationally, but they're still rising in San Diego County. Today, the average for a gallon of regular rose to $4.83. Now, that's about 28 cents more than we were paying just about a month ago. Prices in California are higher despite wholesale prices falling nationally. AAA says other factors are playing a role here, such as the state's steady reduction in refinery output and capacity. Flavored tobacco sales are already banned in California, but now some lawmakers want to eventually ban all tobacco sales in the state. New legislation would make it illegal to sell cigarettes and other products to anyone born after January 1st, 2007. The bill is aimed at ensuring that the next generation doesn't become addicted to smoking or vaping. It's modeled after a similar law passed in New Zealand last year. Cancer continues to be the second most common cause of death in the U.S., and that's only behind heart disease. Routine screenings are critical for helping to catch cancer before it advances, but a new study found that millions of people skip them during the second year of the pandemic. Mandy Gaither has a look at the data and what researchers are hoping you take away from it.
After sharp declines in cancer screenings during the first year of the pandemic, researchers set out to study the following year, hoping to find screening rates had returned back to normal.
We did not see that to be the case. We continued to see declines.
Jessica Starr is lead author of a new study by the American Cancer Society. The research shows in 2021, screenings for breast cancer fell 6% when compared to 2019 before the pandemic, which means about 1 million fewer people were screened for that disease. Screenings for cervical cancer fell 15%. That's about 4.4 million fewer people. And for prostate cancer, screenings fell 10%, about 700,000 fewer people. Those declines especially sharp in Asian communities.
This was especially concerning considering that non-Hispanic Asian persons tend to have high cancer mortality and are less likely to be screened.
The research shows the rate of colorectal cancer screenings stayed the same in 2021 when compared to pre-pandemic levels.
This can be associated with an increase in stool testing, which is home-based, that offset a decline in colonoscopy testing.
Screening can help catch cancer early, increasing odds of survival. At this point, it's unclear the effect missing screenings will have. Separate research finds screening rates return to normal in 2022, and health experts urge anyone who missed a routine cancer screening to catch up now. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
There's lots of ranches in San Diego County, but one ranch less than an hour east of the city is unique. While it's open to the public, it's geared toward military families. KPBS reporter John Carroll shows us how time spent there can restore and change lives.
It's one of the great things about living in Southern California. We've got beautiful beaches, breathtaking deserts, and in between, places like this. Situated in Pine Valley, surrounded by the Cleveland National Forest, the Horse of the Sun Ranch sits in its own little valley. Ken Calloway runs the place.
There are a lot of pressures on military families that the general population doesn't really understand.
Calloway works for the Armed Services YMCA. About 3 years ago, the previous owner of the ranch donated it to the Armed Services Y. As a vet himself, Calloway understands the unique challenges faced by military families.
High unemployment, high spousal unemployment, high child care costs. We bring them to the ranch and let them, especially pre and post deployment, connect as a family. And they can come up here and mom and dad can enjoy barbecue and the kids can run and scream and they get to play with the horses, the kids get to ride.
There is so much to do on this ranch.
The families can come and spend 5 or 6 hours here, enjoy pony rides for the kids. They can do archery, they can do laser tag, arts and crafts, hiking.
Or just some quiet time. The hiking part comes in here. A creek runs along one side of the property. But there is one activity here that happens inside.
Welcome to the craft shop here at the ranch. Leathercraft is part of the horse life, part of the ranch life.
Kids not only learn about leather crafting, they get to create their own works of leather art.
Kid or adult can make a nice little bracelet, something they can keep forever.
Everything here is designed to take visitors' minds off of their day-to-day lives, to forge new bonds, to de-stress.
With a military lifestyle, there's obviously a lot of uncertainty for the children and the family as we tend to move around a lot.
This is Commander Peter Birch, here with his wife and 3 girls, and you might have noticed an accent.
I'm out here working for Naval Air Forces with the U.S. Navy.
Commander Birch is a helicopter pilot with the Royal Navy. Like with any other military family, he says the time spent here means a lot.
To come out to a place like this, be surrounded by nature, also playing with the horses as well, is fantastic. It's a really good grounding experience for the children.
A perfect place to make memories. And that brings us to the first military family to visit the Horse of the Sun Ranch about 6 years ago. One very special story from the ranch has to do with a very special horse, and here he is right here. This is Little Moon. Hey, buddy. The story began 6 years ago between Little Moon and a 3-year-old girl.
I remember times in my lifetime when I was really little, and I couldn't wait to move back to California to see Little Moon again.
This is that girl, not so little anymore. This is Sam May, now 8 years old, and her mom, Katie. Sam says she doesn't really remember that first meeting, but a few years later, the family visited the ranch again. Turns out Little Moon remembered Sam and was very happy to see her.
When you started grooming him, he hugged you, he turned and saw you and hugged you.
A horse hug, as Katie explained, is when a horse puts his neck and head around you.
I love him because he's super sweet. He's the calmest and nicest horse I have ever met in my lifetime.
There are lots of things to say about the Horse of the Sun Ranch, but stories like Sam's really sum it up. As the sign says, a place where horses and nature lift the human spirit. And, one might add, a place where memories are made that last a lifetime. John Carroll, KPBS News.
For more information about the ranch, just check out the story on our website, kpbs.org. People around San Diego County reported hearing a window-rattling boom this morning. No seismic activity was detected by the U.S. Geologic Survey. Military officials from the Navy and Marine Corps could not point to any specific cause. Officials at Camp Pendleton also could not rule out ground-based operations, noting that artillery was being fired on the base today.
Tonight will be a good night to stay home as a dangerous storm sweeps down across our area. Widespread travel disruptions expected, torrential rains and flooding tonight. And up in the mountains, the snow will be heavy, several feet are likely, and the passes will eventually be shut down. Winds ramping up again. So with the winds on the increase, wind advisories, winds could be locally damaging here. The rain becomes heavy again. So the flood watches are out. Heaviest rain tonight into early tomorrow. And up in the mountains, the winter storm warnings and even a blizzard warning, the first one ever issued by the San Diego Forecast Office. Overnight tonight, it's windy and it's wet. Rainfall rates over a ½ inch per hour. It'll be a soaking torrential rain moving through here. Temperatures will be cool, 40s and 50s. Up the mountains, temperatures dropping down into the 20s. Now, here's the way it looks on the future cast. This is the band that we're concerned about coming in tonight. This is when we'll see the most steady torrential rain tonight into early Saturday. That moves eastward, and then the cold core comes in with showers and thunderstorms. There could be small hail, and there could actually be a few funnel clouds and some water spouts, too. So watch out for that. Temperatures tomorrow will be cool again, 40s and 50s in the mountains. It's chilly. And then as we take a look ahead after this storm pulls out early next week, we'll see another storm coming in. It'll be another cold storm, but not as moist as this one. Inland areas, downpours into Saturday. And then the improvements come early in the week before that next storm approaches. Taking up in the mountains, we're talking snow, we're talking wind. And we'll see the snow taper off on Monday. Before Tuesday, the snow returns. And then as we take into the deserts, heavier rains on Saturday, and then it dries out next week, though. Breezy again, and it could get a little bit wet. And for KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Mark Mancuso.
If you test negative for COVID but still feel sick, how do you know if you have the flu? Well, the FDA's approved an at-home test. It can check for both COVID-19 and influenza. Flu season is just about over, but the U.S. has seen more than 235,000 new COVID cases, and that's just this week. Next time you make a trip to SeaWorld, you can leave your cash at home. SDSU's Miro Kopik explains why the theme park is the latest to go cashless in our Friday Business Report.
San Diego is really the first test market for SeaWorld Entertainment, which has 12 theme parks all over the country. And they're really using SeaWorld in San Diego and Sesame Place down in Chula Vista as a test case. SeaWorld is not the first. In Southern California, Legoland is already cashless, Knott's Berry Farm is cashless, and Magic Mountain is cashless. Disney, on the other hand, still accepts cash. From a consumer behavior point of view, using cash is an important gating factor. I know I come in, I know what kind of budget I have, and when my cash runs low, I'm done spending. So you manage what you spend over the course of a day. By using a credit card or a debit card, a lot of consumers don't think as much about what they've spent. So there's a tendency to overspend. And one of the things that these retailers and especially the theme parks have seen is that when you go cashless, there tends to be an increase in impulse spending. So people are going to buy more souvenirs, they might buy more food, and hence that will improve the profitability of the theme park.
I'm Jeff Bennett. Tonight on the NewsHour, we report from Ukraine 1 year after the start of Russia's invasion. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
As Black History Month continues, a dance group up in Encinitas is inviting the community to immerse themselves in a West African dance class that's happening this Sunday. KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne has a look at what you can expect.
Black History Month wraps up on March 1st, and a dance group in Encinitas is inviting the community to learn about a special genre, West African dancing.
To wrap up Black History Month,
I added something special because usually I would just teach West African dance classes, so that's what I would start off with. But the entire month for this particular year, I decided to dive into African American dance forms as well.
Kara Mack is a choreographer from Los Angeles and will be teaching 2 classes in Encinitas on Sunday.
Starting with West African dance, that's the roots of it all, and then ending with my particular culture with step dancing being one of those pillars of African American dance. So I'm excited.
The first class will take place at the Dance North County studio at 11 a.m., with a second class starting at 2:30 p.m. The group Encinitas West African Dance holds classes every month with new teachers. When the weather permits, those classes take place in the park. Diane Panella organizes the classes.
We're a multicultural group, which is another really interesting thing because those of us who are not of African or African American culture are just feeling so fortunate, so blessed, and so thankful that there are teachers that want to share this culture because there's so much in it that benefits all people.
She invites the community of all ages and backgrounds to attend the events that Max says are a learning experience for all.
Dance is very, very, very therapeutic. And then with anything African-based, you're talking about the beginning, the essence of movement. This is the disbursement of all peoples.
More details and information can be found on our website. Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
You can find all of tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley. And by the following: by viewers like you. Thank you.